that's basically how I got started, and then started needing more and more components, and then decided, you know what, there's other people out there probably online. That's when the internet kind of started to come about, and so I started selling parts online, and didn't want to come out with a horrible site. So instead of having it called Robot Zone, I decided to call it Servo City, so I could take it, kind of pull the plug if the site was horrible. I didn't want to get a bad reputation, and pretty soon Servo City just took off, and all of a sudden I had an avenue in which I could kind of focus my creativity as far as coming out with new parts, new robots, and that's what I did, and that's how we're here today, I guess. So.
Awesome. Good story.
So yeah, and kind of continue that is, you know, there was always a line of, I started building parts for the education business. So when I hooked up with Pittsco, they would come to me with ideas, or they would want me to generate ideas for the education market, junior high and high school. That's primarily what their market was all about, obviously strictly geared for the education. So I would come out with different products. I invented a device I called the Epicenter, which, you know, so many students were building bridges out of balsa wood. They would weight them down to see how much weight they could hold, and that's been done. That had been done for 20 plus years at that time. And so I wanted to kind of reflect, you know, what else could be done in that same realm. So I developed a device called an Epicenter, which was basically an earthquake simulator. So instead of building a bridge, you had to build a building that was 4 inches by 4 inches. It had to be at least 15 inches tall, and we had steel load plates you had to evenly space throughout your building. You bolt it down to the epicenter, and the epicenter was hooked up to a device or a controller that was mimic the Richter scale. So the higher you went, obviously the shaking would be more compounded, so it would recreate the S and the P waves. And so whoever student or whoever could build a building that could withstand the highest magnitude of on the Richter scale before the building would collapse would win the competition. So everybody loves destruction, especially, you know, in the education or junior high. And so, you know, every building would be destroyed, and I had to make sure that I built that thing. So I think the magnitude was a 12 with that thing. So nobody, I don't think, at this point, I don't think anybody's built one, because it would get so violent, the thing would kind of walk across the table, and eventually you had to bolt it down to a big tech table. But so anyway, I sold those, and that I was able to take the profit of that and develop more parts. We came out with Rooster robots. We came out with a series of little smaller robots for junior high schools that didn't quite have, you know, $2,000 to spend on a robot. And so started a really good reputation as far as with Pittsco and synergistics and pathways of building high quality tech stuff. But that everybody there knows, you know, I started having ideas of, you know, cooler product that didn't really fit within the education realm. And so, and plus I was getting so bogged down designing things for the education realm that I really wanted to kind of get back and develop things versus becoming a manufacturer. I was so tied up building these things, both at home in my parents' basement, as well as an old karate studio down in Winfield here. I was so busy I didn't have time to build tables or things to build things, so I'd actually sit on the floor, and that was my production line where I would go from station to station on the floor, and then the heater went out in the building, so I went down to Walmart and bought 2 hair dryers, and I put those in vices and aim them towards me. And I would move those from station to station, because winters here can be pretty rough without any heat. So that's really kind of how I got started, and that's been, you know, 10 plus years ago, but certainly things have changed, but it was certainly a character building time, no doubt about it. So, and in the back of my mind, I always wanted to, as we did projects beyond Pittsco, ServoCity.com allowed us to get products in front of companies. So pretty soon the phone started ringing with Fortune 500 companies, Apple, Microsoft, Java, all these different companies wanted us to build products for them. They kind of saw what we were doing, and at that time the internet, you know, anything out on the internet was kind of new and cool to some extent. And so they would come to us and say, hey, we've got this project, we would like you to get involved. And so I started doing a lot of projects for companies, which was awesome. I learned a tremendous amount dealing in focus groups and being part of a larger team, a lot of pros and cons, but I certainly learned a lot. But at the same time, I wanted to get back to building what I've always wanted to do. So I kind of started curtailing that side of the business and started developing the Actobotic line, which is what I always wanted to do. And since I was, you know, 10 years old, I wanted basically a metal Lego quote kind of building system. I mean, erector sets were obviously out there, but which are cool, but I wanted to build something you could build a 3D printer out of, or something really precise, and nothing out there was really that way. You know, especially Lego. Lego is awesome stuff, but the problem is you can't build some out of Lego that will grab a basketball, lift it up 4 feet, or drop it into a garbage can. You know, and so I started incorporating aluminum components with my Legos and incorporated radio control systems and hooking RC servos and with Lego and started building different parts to do that. And so eventually that turned into the Actobotics line, and that's kind of where we're at today. So that's a little bit of a, you know, you guys got just a very, very small sampling of in the box. You know, we wish we could have maybe sent you a Mantis 6 robot kit to everybody. That would be coming. But so it gives you at least an idea of what the capabilities are of Actobotics, as well as some of the stuff that's coming down the pipeline. And I won't get into all this stuff quite yet, but you know, if you guys have any questions, certainly shout it out. So.
I have a question. Does Servo City own Actobotics?
I'm sorry, one more time?
Does Servo City own Actobotics?
It does, yes. Robot Zone is actually the parent company. So, and under that umbrella, Robot Zone umbrella, we have Servo City, which is our online division of Robot Zone. And Actobotics is simply a brand under the Robot Zone umbrella, I guess, which Servo City is a distributor of Actobotics, if that explains it.
Thank
We
you.
want to make it as complicated as
Yes.
Hey Brian, you gonna ever come out with the channel in black?
We are. Yes, that's coming. Don't let that go out. But yes, that is coming. It's going to be actually offered in various colors, but black is the first color that we're going to be doing. So yes, it will be anodized as well as several other parts as well that will be anodized in black.
Okay,
So
Kyle
was
told me it was on the way.
What's that?
I said Kyle. I had mentioned it to Kyle. I was hoping it was coming along.
It is. What we're trying to do, there's several different types of anodizing surface, I guess you could say. And so we've had several parts anodized. We're not quite happy because obviously Actobotics is all about taking stuff apart, putting it back together, taking it apart, and you still want it to look good, you know. And so the nice thing about the way it is, it's part anodized now. The nice thing about it is you don't have scratches, things like that. The black tends to do that. So, but we're really, really close to having a really hard anodized black surface that allows us to do that. So, yeah, I mean, it's not as durable looking as far as the clear anodized, I guess you say, but it's coming down the pipe. So, be looking for it here pretty soon. So, any other questions, or before I kind of maybe get into some other stuff, or?
Show us new stuff.
What could we build with the kit? The sample?
Well, that's a great question. I wish I could say something extremely awesome, but basically what we do with the kit is we kind of want to get you in your hand just kind of a random sampling of some of the various components, whether it's some of our stainless steel parts, like the little, I guess I should rip these things out of the various bags. So some of the stainless steel parts, which there's a huge variety of, and obviously the channel, which is the backbone of Actobotics. So basically when you're starting a robot build or any kind of device build, basically, you know, you can start out with channel, you can start out with our aluminum tubing, as well as our carbon fiber tubing as well. So with the channel is a really easy way to get started. And obviously you can see the small stainless steel brackets can bolt right in line with the channel. I don't know how close you can see that, but this allows you to bolt channel to channel. And obviously I think this is what, a 6-inch piece of channel. We actually offer this all the way up to 24 inches, and actually 40-inch pieces of channel are in production now. So a lot longer, actually, I'll show you one. So right here, a long piece of channel. You can build cool sliders, you can build enormous 3D printers. So that's coming down the road here pretty soon. So you can build, you know, we offer about every 2-inch length, but the shorter pieces we offer down the length of 1-inch lengths, 1.5-inch length. So this gives you an idea. Also, servo mounts, you can see a plate in here. This gives you basically any standard size servo can bolt right in there from the front to the back. And that, of course, can bolt right to the channel, bolt inside the channel. But we offer probably, a dozen, maybe 4 to 5 different sizes of plates. So we're coming out with a large number of various servo components that will bolt right to servo, allow you to bolt servos into them. Obviously, the ball bearings, everything about Actobotics is that basically had it as a precision ball bearing building system. So all the ball bearings simply just press right into the channels, just in the holes. And then, of course, your precision, like the V shafting, as Lauren helps me out here. The V shafting or any of our precision shafting can go right through the ball bearings. And, of course, all of our gears, everything, 32 pitch or 48 pitch meshes. And the beauty of the Actobotics channel, I don't want to be, it's not like an infomercial here, so sorry as I continue on. But so basically, it's an overlapping hole pattern. So, you take a 10607 pattern with a 770 pattern with an 8 orbital hole, and then of course the outer holes continue to overlap one another. So what that allows you to do, it allows you to mesh any 32 pitch or 48 pitch or 64 pitch gears and still be on an even ratio, whether it's 1 to 1, 2 to 1, 3 to 1, 4 to 1, 5 to 1. And the biggest thing that the biggest thing for me anyway, when I was building robots, was I would go to hardware stores and I would go to Walmart, I'd buy skate wheels, I'd buy rollerblade wheels. And the biggest thing was like, well, now how do I bolt this rollerblade wheel to my robot? Or how do I adapt my servo to this? So the biggest frustration I had was like finding all these outside parts and not being able to adapt them. And so basically the biggest thing that we try to do is make sure we try to find all the parts that we think robot builders might use, everything from, rollerblade wheels, which we have adapters for all the rollerblade wheels that China produces, so all the rollerblade wheels, skateboard wheels, you can bolt them right to channel, right to all of our motors, any motors that have a 6mm bore. One of the things that I had to do too is research a lot of the standardized motors that come out of basically China. They're all 37mm diameter, 22mm diameter, 32mm diameter. They all are 3mm, cap holes. So, all those motors, obviously we have, 37mm motor mounts. Yeah, so, and 22mm motor mounts and light to build, bevel gear drives, if you want to build a, Mars pathfinding, rotated on the steering axis. But so my main goal is every single diameter motor that's out there in the market, and of course there's new ones that come out all the time, but we immediately come out with a motor mount that allows you to bolt it right to channel. And of course, when you bolt that to channel, of course the pattern always stays the same. So it's 1.5 or 0.75 or 3/4 of an inch or 1.5 inch between the opposing. And same thing here. So it's kind of like the Lego from the get-go. You have to make sure that first part that you made works with 1,300, which I think we're up to probably 1,600 or more Actobotic components now. So that was our biggest deal. It's also making sure that, if you go to a hardware store and you want, to buy some threaded rods, you have threaded rods, allow you to attach to it. So really looking at outside, it's kind of an open source building system. If it doesn't exist out there to adapt it, we immediately try to come out with an adapter really, really fast. So right now we're coming out with about 2 parts on average a day. So of course they get launched in kind of groups, but our whole goal is parts all the time. So
have you thought about putting together a massive kit that has all of the basic components that don't necessarily build a particular thing, but would be good for me? Because, like, for example, I'll buy your wheel and your assembly, and then I'm back online ordering the next bearing because I forgot it, and I forgot this, and I forgot that. But I was looking to see if you had, like, a massive kit. Yeah, it's going to be a little expensive from the get-go, but I'd like to have all of the components in that one kit. Not every component you make, but the majority of the most popular.
Absolutely. The best Lego set I ever had, now you go to Walmart, you get like the Harry Potter set, and you get the Dora set, or something. You can build a castle, and you put it up on your shelf, and it's it. I mean, that just drives me nuts. And so, the high technic line, which is all Lego, but I always remember opening, the big wide Lego set. You open it up, and you got all these the trucks and stuff, and it gave you a motor and all these wheels, and yeah, you could build lots of things. But exactly, we're coming out with basically a mega Actobotics set. We're still in that part mode right now. So here in about probably 3 months, we're going to transfer all of our energy. We already started to just from pressure from customers to come out with various kits like the Mantis and stuff. But yes, we're coming out with a parts kit, and we're going to start at about $300, which will give you a huge number of parts, and go all the way up to about $1,900, which will basically give you almost 2 of every single Actobotic component, which you'll actually, out of that group, you'll be able to build a 3D printer, and as well as another robot to go along with it. So yes, I mean that's a great question. Yes, those are coming.
And
so,
to help you out as a beta testing, we're willing to come back in a couple of weeks and you ship those to us, and we'll give you an evaluation.
We will take you because we're all about getting our hands in front of customers and people like yourself. So trust me, you got my word, and you guys can get some of the big giant sets just to play around with. So and keep.
We did also sort of start with some bundle packs. We had people looking for like parts together. So some of the structural components, like the beams and the mini channel and the channel, we put together bundle packs where people could buy one of every length. Because we noticed people were going through and doing that anyways because maybe they could decide for their project what size they needed. And so we put together some bundle packs. We do have online some channel bundles and beam bundles that incorporate brackets and screws and things like that too. They're not ginormous kits that would be one of everything, but they do offer a good selection of at least the backbone components like channel and beam. So you can check those out too. I think they're about $179, anywhere from $99 to $179 on there. So.
Thank you.
You mentioned earlier the Mars rover, and I work with some space-focused STEM type groups. And one of the big draws is obviously the Curiosity type rovers, and I've built some rovers for some of these groups. But one of the really things that I find difficult is the rocker bogie system, and it's really tough to find components to put one together unless you're willing to get a milling machine and make your own parts. How are you guys set up with your components to maybe put something like that together?
Well, we're coming out with a big kit that's going to utilize the Actobotics. We came out with, if I have it here, we've got a bogey. Yeah, we've gone together. Also grabbed the universal deal on the R&D desk as well, with the two scoops, have the ball bearings that kind of go crazy. So I'll show you kind of an example of